to celebrate Pride Month. Tonight, Adam Lambert is fronting a new documentary all about the British music industry. It's called Out, Loud and Proud.
Well, ironically, the word queer and queen are very similar looking, aren't they?
Yeah. And this is one of the things we should talk about, because the vocabulary has changed a lot.
For sure.
Queer was a word you wouldn't want to use. I would never have used it to Freddie, and he would have been upset if we had. You know, he said, I'm not queer, I'm normal, darling. You know, queer, because queer meant odd and weird and a little bit scary.
And then it came to be a term of abuse, really.
Yeah. That is generational as well, because now the attitudes towards that have shifted.
Well, Adam joins me now. What an amazing documentary. I loved it, obviously.
Thank you.
So interesting, though, that the word queer has been reclaimed. Because
Absolutely.
when I was growing up, queer was an insult.
Yeah,
it was actually.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I was talking to my father about it the other day, and he's like, it's strange, because we would never say that unless you meant it in a very terrible way.
Exactly.
But, you know, there is something about reclaiming words. You know, the community, I feel like, says, OK, fine, we're queer, and we're proud of it. And there's that turnaround of the phrase. It's kind of amazing that we can do that. Plus, we kind of needed something to sum up the entire community. I mean, there's a lot of letters now.
There's
LGBTQIA plus this, that. It gets kind of, it's a mouthful. So queer, it is easier to say.
Exactly. It's the umbrella term. It's the umbrella term, of course. Why did you want to make this documentary?
You know, this is something that I had seen a lot in the film and TV world. You've seen how queer visibility has moved on and has impacted, like, the greater society. So I thought, I've never actually seen anything about musicians. And a lot of my favorite LGBTQ musicians happen to be British. So I was speaking with people at ITV, because I was over here doing some TV stuff, and I just had a casual conversation about it, and they went, well, why don't we do something?
Exactly. And you had, funnily enough, really good access to Queen.
I know a couple guys.
Yeah. That was a brilliant conversation with them about Freddie.
It was amazing.
When you think there's no more you can know about Freddie, hearing them talking about him, it was actually really heartwarming as well.
It was, and you know, it's a sensitive thing, because you know, Freddie wasn't necessarily out while he was alive. He kept his life private.
I think we knew.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, you're right. You're absolutely right.
But you know, and that was a different time. You know, the media in the 80s was really hard on people.
This was banned. This brilliant video on I Want to Break Free, which was hilarious, was banned by MTV.
In America.
Can you believe that?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we got it over here, obviously. But
well, you guys are about 10 years ahead of us in many ways in terms of visibility and acceptance.
I think something like that would be banned. It's nuts, right?
And also, when you look at, like, the hair metal that was going on in that era, in the 80s, those men were painted up, you know, everyone was wearing spandex and had, you know, body parts showing and whatnot, so.
What I loved was you talked to Andy Bell from Erasure. And you talked to Boy George, of course. And again, fascinating to hear their stories.
It really was such a treat to sit down and get some perspective on what it was like back then. Because the music industry and all the industries and society in general have progressed so dramatically.
So much,
even over the last 15 years since I've been in the music industry, it's changed like night and day. When I first came out in the music industry in America, there was nobody gay on the radio.
No, well, there was. They just didn't say it. They didn't say it. Exactly.
Yeah, so
you were one of the few, actually.
I was excited. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna, you know, wave a flag and try to help people.
Yeah,
you know,
that's it.
The more examples we get to set as a community, examples of success, of confidence, of hope, of positivity and love, the more it affects the community and everybody else.
No, that's true.
Yeah, and that's kind of the idea of this documentary, is going back, looking at the trailblazers in each decade since about the 60s that moved the needle forward. And talking with Brian and Roger about Freddie was amazing, because it wasn't so much about let's pry apart and dig into his private life.
No.
The aim was more to talk about, if his experience was that of, you know, an LGBTQ person, how does that affect him as an artist, as a writer, as a performer? How did that affect his relationship with the band? You know, it's not about revealing secrets, but it's more about, now that we have identity as sort of a prerequisite for people.
Sure.
It's interesting to kind of go back and go, oh, now we can kind of talk about it differently.
It is incredible. I mean, we have made a lot of progress.
Yeah.
You do talk to a wonderful friend of yours, a fantastic woman, who was in Pose, which I loved. If you've not seen Pose, go and find it. It's fantastic.
Great show.
Good. And an amazing girl. And she, you know, she was just talking about how what trans people are going through now is kind of like what gay people went through in the 80s.
Absolutely.
So there's still work to be done, kind of thing.
There's always going to be work to do. I mean, we are making forward motion, but it's a bit of a zigzag. And then sometimes you make 2 steps forward and you have to take 2 back, or 1 back and 2 forward. You know, it's not a straight line.
No.
Not a straight line. See what I did there?
It's an interesting
it's not a straight line.
It's much more interesting than that. No, it's true.
But I think, I've seen a lot in 15 years, so that's why I wanted to go back and go, well, what was it like for you? What was it like for you? Because my experience is my own. And I think, it was really enlightening. It's a great documentary, I think, for people that are in the community to see their heroes and learn more about them. But my hope is that it also is something that allies, that the greater public can look at and maybe learn something.
Definitely. But the thing is about it is I loved it for seeing people that I grew up with.
Yeah.
Seeing amazing artists like Andy, like Boy George, all having their say, and the music, and there was just all that nostalgia as well. So I loved that too.
And Skin from Skunk Anansi, her interview was so fascinating.
She was incredible.
She's amazing. And not only was she, a gay woman, but she was a black gay woman in a time in rock and roll in the 90s where there wasn't a lot of other people like her that were at that level.
That's right. I like how you gave, like Andy and obviously, Skunk Anansi, you gave them their place. Because sometimes they didn't get their place, and I like that.
Yeah, we give them their flowers, as we say. Yeah, I tried to bring some flowers for them.
No,
yeah,
it's great.
Exactly.
And you're going to be doing some more new music next month, aren't you?
I am.
Thank you very much.
I've been trickling out some singles.
You have.
They're a bit naughty.
Okay,
This project is called Afters. It's an EP of dance music. It's great for Pride. It's summer. It's really meant to be the kind of soundtrack to what sounds like my social life. I mean, this is what my this is my extracurricular existence. If you came to an after party at my house, this is what it would sound like.
Well, you've got to sort of carry on the spirit of Freddie.
Yeah.
And we know what their parties were like. God, I would have loved to be at a Freddie party.
Me too.
Just watching. I don't think I would have joined in, but just watching from the side,
observing,
just looking and enjoying. It's so good to see you.
It's really nice
really
to see
is.
you too.
Out loud and proud. We don't want to be in quiet and ashamed. We're out loud and proud.
That's
Thank
what we
you.
are.
It's tonight, 9 o'clock on ITV and ITVX, of course.